My name is Rob Gaetano, and I'm 30 years old soon, very soon. I guess for me, I think I knew, it's hard to pinpoint when I actually knew I was gay. I can't pinpoint an actual age or time in my life. I do know that when I was probably about 10, 11, 12, I had a crush on a cartoon character that was a male. And I think so for me that's when I started to, I guess, realise that I was attracted to males. I think like a lot of gay young people, you don't realise that that is actually being gay. I didn't have a label for it, but that's probably the earliest time for me. That cartoon character was a character from Captain Planet. The first person I told that I was gay was my older brother. He was a few years older than me. So I think I would have been about 15 when I told him, and he was 17. And I thought that he'd actually be pretty cool with it, but he wasn't at all. He didn't get angry or anything. He just said, "I don't understand. Why would you choose to be gay? It doesn't make any sense to me." And that was sort of it. We didn't really talk about it for quite a few months at least. And so that was really hard because I hadn't told it. I think I told one friend, but I don't really class telling my friends as coming out, because I think I always just assumed that my friends would be understanding anyway, so it was never an issue telling my friends. It was more my family that, when people ask me about my coming out story, I always talk about my family, because my friends were never an issue, and I never thought that would be an issue. I came out to my parents when I was 16. I didn't choose to come out to them. I got caught out in a lie, basically. And I told my mum that I was gay when we were driving in the car, but after being caught out in a lie, and she was just silent. And then I remember we got home and I went straight to my room, and 2 seconds later I hear this knock on the door, and my dad's voice says, "Robert, can you come outside to the balcony?" So the three of us go out to the balcony, and my dad turns to me and says, "Oh, what's this about you telling your mum you're gay? Well, why would you say that?" And I was like, "Well, because I am." And that just ended up being a 2-hour conversation. And for my parents, being Italian, they migrated to Australia in the 60s. I thought it was going to be the worst thing in the world telling my parents I was gay. And surprisingly for them, all that they really knew about being gay was, or gay people in general, was the Mardi Gras and HIV. That's to them what they thought being gay was. They didn't know any gay people, so for them I think it was a real lack of education. And my mum said to me, "Oh no, well, how do you know that you're gay? Have you ever slept with a man?" And I had, but I wasn't going to tell her that because I was 16. And I said no. She goes, "Well, have you ever slept with a woman?" And I said no. She goes, "Well, how do you know you're gay?" And I said, "Well, Mum, have you ever slept with a woman?" And she goes, "No." Well, I said, "Well, how do you know you're not gay?" She was like, "Don't be stupid." And I was like, "But it's the truth. That's what it was." So I think the best thing for my parents was I then got them involved with PFLAG, which is Parents and Friends of Lesbians and Gays. It's basically a support group for parents that have gay kids. And they did that for probably about maybe 6 months, went to meetings once a month. My auntie went, my uncle went to one of them. And the best thing about PFLAG was that it was a support group, and you sat around in a circle and you told your story, or you just sat there and listened to people and you cried or whatever. And the best thing for my mum is that she met a woman who had 4 sons. All 4 of them were gay, and the youngest one was also born blind. And so for my mum, that was a pretty massive thing. It made her think, okay, well, I've only got one gay kid. Or so she thought, because then maybe 10 years later, my little sister came out. And that's a whole another thing for my parents to deal with, because they've got one gay son, but in our family there's 3 boys and 1 girl. So I think having the youngest one and the youngest one being a girl, having her being gay as well, I think was another massive shock for my parents. When I first, after I'd dealt with my own sexuality and told my parents. Within a couple of weeks, I was like, you know, why can't they just get over it? I've told them, it's sorted out. I'm cool with it. They're cool with it. Just deal with it, you know. And it wasn't until my little sister came out that I sort of realised that for parents coming out, for their children to come out, it's a real, it's sort of a grieving process. Like, they have to grieve the expectation that they had for their child. And I'm sure, like, when a child is born, the parents automatically, and I'm sure for my dad, when my sister was born, he flashed forwards 20 years in the future when he's walking her down the aisle, you know, and for her to be gay, it means that may never happen, and not in the way that he thought it would happen, you know. So I think, for parents, it's a real grieving process when your kids come out as being gay, because there's so much expectation as to what their lives are going to be like. But after a while, like, my parents started, you know, my parents were really accepting. Like, I'm really, really lucky. You know, you hear these stories about people getting kicked out of home and all that drama, but I'm really, really lucky. All my aunties and uncles found out, my grandparents know, everybody in my family knows that I'm gay, and now know my sister's gay, and everyone's been really, really great. I've never had any negative reactions. I'm really fortunate. Even at high school, I sort of started to come out in my last year of high school, and I'm sure people said things behind my back. I'm sure that was said, but no one ever said anything to my face, because, yeah, like, what are you going to do? Call me gay? Yeah, I know I'm gay. Like, you know. Now I'm really comfortable with who I am, and I feel, I guess my experience of being accepted as a gay man these days, I make a real conscious effort, like, with my boyfriend, and we've never talked about it, but I think because we are both quite affectionate people, when we're in public, you know, we'll do the things that normal couples do. You know, we'll hold hands, we'll kiss occasionally in public, and for me, I try to do that as much as I can, because I think, well, it should be accepted and it should be normal, so I'm just going to make it normal. And as long as I feel that it's normal and behave in a way that is normal, then that should be cool. So, yeah, I guess that's it.